So I've decided to flat and polish the paint on the boat hull, and thought I'd make a video that just shows how I did that. This is the last side that I haven't done yet, and that's the side that I have done. So you can kind of see the difference in the finish there. I've also done the aft section. So it just kind of takes a lot of the texture of the paint out and gives it much better shine as well. So the first step is to flat the paint off with a 1200 grit disc. Then I'm going to a 3000 grit. Then a twisted lamb's wool mop with the polisher with the 35 polar shine compound. And then I'm going to an orange foam pad afterwards with the 10 polar shine compound. And I'll show you how I do it. So the first step is going to be to sand with the 1200 grit. I've got a 5mm interface pad on the back, which will just help follow any of the contours in the forward part of the boat. I'm actually going to sand this wet, although you can do this stage dry, but the paint's still fairly fresh on this, so you find that it clogs up a little bit on the pad. And that will just help prevent any of the little pigtails that you see in the finish sometimes as well. So that's after the first sand. I find if you overlap by 50% each time, it's quite a good way of making sure that you cover everything and you don't miss any spots. So I go up and down and then side to side as well, and it's pretty thorough that way. I'll just give it a wipe off and show you what it looks like. So you can see the paint's flattered off, so you can still see some of the paint texture there. If you want to go a bit further, you can go over that again so it's entirely flat. I'll probably give this just one more pass actually. Certain areas you can see a little bit worse. I don't know if you can see just up here there's a section that probably wants going over again. It's a little bit speckledy still. So anywhere that you've got those little shiny areas are the low spots basically. So actually I'm just going to go over this again and show you that after the second time. So that's the second pass with 1200. You can see that a lot more of the paint textures come out and it's quite flat now. We have still got to do a pass with 3000, so I find that that takes a little bit more of this texture out. So if there's a bit left, it doesn't really matter. You can go over it until it's completely flat if you want to, but as this is just the bottom of the hull, I think that'll be fine for this. So next is the 3000 grit stage. So this is a 3000 grit Abralon disc. I've actually taken the backing pad off now because this is foam backed anyway. So we'll do that wet as well, and I'll show you how it looks. So that's after the first pass with the 3000 grit. You can see it's got a bit more of a shine to it now, and some more of the paint textures come out as well. I might just go over that once more just to be sure, and then we'll be on to the polishing stage. So next up is the Twisted Lambswool bonnet. I'm using that on the second speed setting, which is around 1500 RPM. That's what it recommends. It's kind of midway what it recommends on the polish bottle. And I'm using the Polar Shine 35, which is a kind of coarse cut compound. You could probably miss this step out, to be honest, after the 3000 grit, but I found it just kind of gets any bits out that you might have missed. So I found it was better to do this before the final stage, really. So that's a shot after the first polishing stage. I'll probably go over that once more and then move on to the final foam pad. So final stage is the orange foam pad. I'm using the polisher on the same speed again, but this time I'm using the finer Polar Shine 10 compound. Exactly the same process. So there's a shot of the final finish. I did 2 passes with the foam pad and the Polar Shine 10. There's still a few little marks in it here and there, and it's not perfect, I would say, but at the end of the day it's the bottom of the boat, so it's plenty good enough for that. There's a lot more stages that you can do to this, all kinds of different grits that you can use and polishes. Mirka also do a nano wax as well, which you can do after this stage. So I probably won't bother with this, but when it comes to varnishing the top sides I may well go a step further, but that's how I polish the bottom anyway.